Hey horror fans, welcome back to another video on the Terror Talk channel where I give commentary on creepy stories and conspiracy theories. The music you hear I composed myself. If you're struggling financially like a lot of people are, check the pinned comment after watching. I have something that will help you out a lot. Now, let's get into it and have some fun.
To record a video. People have been asking me about the story, so here it goes.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, be sure to check out part 1 of this vampire video because it is half an hour long. I needed to split it up and make it shorter, but I really wanted to do a video on this because I thought it's super interesting that the people are claiming that there are vampires in New Orleans, sorry, and other places probably all around the world. But yeah, let's see what this lady has to say because her story is super interesting, just like super fascinating. So I wanted to give my thoughts on it also, but I just think this is like one of the most fascinating vampire stories I've heard.
I'm a rideshare driver in New Orleans. So, of course, I encounter all types of people from all walks of life. So, one particular ride was very interesting. Now, this was a couple of years ago when this occurred. And I'm going to tell you, for the most part, I remember what she said. I do not remember what she looked like. And there are some details that when the experience was over, like I had completely forgotten some things. I do know that we were having conversation. I talked to many of my passengers, and she is telling me I have really great energy. And then she proceeds to tell me how much she loved New Orleans, how much she loved being there, living there, et cetera, et cetera. I do recall asking her where she was from originally, and all she told me was that she was from very far away.
Very far away. Yeah. I wonder where she was from because this is one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. Take a look at this.
And it's funny again because I'm hearing her voice in my head as this is weird. Um, and I've never shared this story with anybody. So touched my shoulder at one point, and this is where things got really strange. She touched my shoulder, and I felt like I just froze. And even as I'm talking to you right now, I can distinctly remember that feeling of feeling frozen. And my hands were on the wheel because I could see my hands on the wheel. Car wasn't moving. And being frozen in that moment, I hear her voice, but not like I'm here talking to you in my head. I hear her voice telling me, don't be scared, that she's not going to harm me. And then after that, we're moving again. And I remember kind of turning and looking like that. And she was sitting back in the seat and her hands were on her lap. And I said, what did you do to me? And she just smiled. And she says, I just leached some of your energy. And I said, what? She said, I just leached some of your energy. She said, this is going to sound crazy, but I can assure you it's true. I'm a vampire.
So apparently she's an energy vampire. Someone who steals other people's energy physically. But are there more people out there sharing similar stories?
Want to get creeped out? For those of you who don't know, I've been doing research on.
That is a crazy, crazy story, isn't it? What do you think of that? Because I personally feel like she's telling the truth because the way she talks about it, there's a lot of fear, and the way that she pauses when she tells the story, like she's, actually affected by it. Like, I feel like she's being absolutely genuine about that. And I just think that I just think that it's crazy that there are energy vampires out there, don't you? Because I haven't even really, I mean, I guess I have heard of an energy vampire, but I thought vampires more drank blood and stuff like that. But I guess there are energy vampires too. And do energy vampires drink blood? I really don't know. It seems like they more leech off of energy than blood. But like that, there was one video, I think it was in the first part. Go and watch it if you haven't. But this guy said, who claimed to be a vampire, that he does not condone vampires drinking blood. So maybe most vampires do just take energy like that. I really don't know. But super fascinating either way.
On creepy folklore, creepy creatures, kind of from around the world. While doing this research, I came across real vampires. I read about a man named John Browning who was an American writer and scholar, and he actually researched real vampires for years. Now, no, these are not supernatural beings that can turn into bats and sparkle in the sunlight. I don't know how they feel about garlic. John had been searching for real vampires for a very long time, and he finally found one in a clothing store in the French Quarter of New Orleans. A woman came into the store with two teenage boys, and the shop owner let John know that this was the person he was looking for. John decides to strike up a conversation with this lady and let her know that he is studying real vampires. During this conversation, she did smile, which revealed two teeth filed down to look like fangs. John did give her his number, but she never got back to him. Luckily, a few weeks later, he met some more real vampires in a nightclub in New Orleans.
So I'm not sure if I believe in vampires, but there's a lot of strange encounters in New Orleans. And it reminds me of this first video that we saw at the very beginning of this woman meeting a man at a party. Unless he's not wearing contact lenses, there's something really weird about that, isn't there? Let's continue.
And a few weeks after that, he met what is called an elder vampire. This was an older man who was a real living vampire.
So she goes on to explain how there are energy vampires and plasma vampires or something like that. And that's really weird because she's talking about these energy vampires. That's the same story that this woman shared while doing an Uber drive. There are other stories of people who share similar things in New Orleans.
Y'all got another.
All right, so that kind of answers my question before about the energy and the blood vampires. So plasma vampire, I'm guessing, refers to blood, and the actual physical contaminants or the physical properties of a person. And the energy vampire is when they leech energy from someone, which is just crazy, in my opinion. And she said that they're not supernatural beings, but doesn't it seem like if you're actually like literally leeching energy from a person, that seems kind of supernatural, doesn't it? So I actually think that, maybe the plasma vampires aren't so much supernatural. There's probably something really odd in their genetic makeup that makes them need blood in the first place, for sure. But what about an energy vampire? That sounds a lot more supernatural, doesn't it? It does to me, because, yeah, it just seems like an energy vampire has to be more supernatural, because how the hell can they take energy from someone? That is just mind-boggling. Like, you say that people call a toxic person a leech because they drain their energy, but these energy vampires are literally draining energy, like not just like actually literally. And to me, that is just absolutely crazy.
The story time, living in New Orleans, seeing witches, encountering witches and vampires. First time at this restaurant, y'all. I'm with some friends and this chick that I was messing with, right? We chilling, eating, waiting on, I think probably lamb chops or something. We having a good time. The vibes is immaculate. We drinking, you know, vibing, eating, whatever like that. We in there for like probably, I say an hour. The restaurant packed. Keep in mind, the vibe is immaculate as far as everybody that's in there. Okay, an hour, hour and a half for us being there. I, I kid you not, y'all. I turn my head, peeping the scenery out. I look at the door. It's full witches or vampires that walk through the door. I'm kind of dripped down. They got on dresses. People got on heels. I look at them. They got on combat black boots, capes. Okay, they walk past me, like behind my back, to get to their table. Bro, when I tell you the energy that I felt from them females that walked past me, my whole body immediately got cold. I remember my body getting cold. I remember like the hairs on my neck and my arms stood up like as they walked past. Bro, we in a restaurant. 2 minutes go by. The whole energy of the whole entire restaurant changed, y'all. I cannot make this up. And it didn't dawn on me to wait after that. This is an all meat restaurant. Everywhere I look, I'm seeing cows on the plate still moving. Man, I really think that was vampires. The energy was cold, just like the other story time that I did. Like the energy as they walked past me was cold. Like,
Now, this kind of reminds me of another video when she talks about the energy feeling cold.
Happened at the Vatican. I saw it. We were supposed to meet with the Pope, and I met with several cardinals, I think the good cardinals, and I saw stuff that I had never seen before. That night, we were with, I don't even remember who they were, but they were the most Christ-like, cardinals and preachers or whatever they were. You could tell everybody's guard in that group, everybody's guard was up. And all of a sudden, and I'm not kidding you, the room dropped 10 degrees. And I happened to be looking at the door way across this huge room. And here comes this guy. So he was the main guy that, you had to get by if you were going to get to the Pope. And I said, holy cow, who is that guy? And the whole group of really nice guys turned around and looked at him. And one of them turned back and went, oh, you can feel that? And I said, oh, yeah. And they were like, oh, good sense on you. Oh, no, he's leading the opposition. So he's the guy, I think, that was helping thwart Benedict.
So there's just too many reports of people sharing these stories about these human beings that appear to have some sort of trait, some sort of supernatural ability that other normal human beings do not have.
Yeah, I agree that there are a lot of seemingly reports of this. And what do you think of that one where the black girl was telling about how in the restaurant those 4 vampire witches that came by and just just turned everything ice cold? That's pretty crazy, right? And my thought with that is, how do vampires get love and warmth from other people? Like, whether it's through cuddling or physical touch, whatever it is, sex, whatever it is, if all they do is drain the energy away from people, how do they get that? I'm genuinely wondering. Because if all they do is suck the energy out of people, how do they get the warmth from other people that they need to keep living as long as they do? Because I don't know about you, I am a very warm and physically affectionate person, but I couldn't go that long without it. So if I was a vampire and all I did was suck the energy out of everyone, and no one wanted to be physically close with me, that would be a very lonely life. So I wonder if vampires live very lonely lives for that reason.
If there are vampires, mutants, witches, whatever you want to call them, it's weird. I want to know what you think. Is this just a very elaborate hoax? This is all fake, a myth, a figment of our imagination? Or does it exist at some point and we're just not able to explain it? Leave a comment. Have you ever seen anything like this? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and I'll see you guys tomorrow or maybe Saturday. See you then.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And I want to say that I do think vampires are real. I really do. And I'm pretty open-minded about what I believe. Let me know if you think that vampires are real or if they could exist. I definitely think they could exist. And I wouldn't even go so far as to say they do exist, because with all these accounts, like, I definitely think, though, the most believable story that one of the most believable stories that I've seen was that cab driver, the black woman earlier who was talking about her experience with the lady that had sucked the energy from her. She was the cab driver earlier, and I feel like her story was exceedingly believable, and one of the craziest stories I've heard about vampires. So I think that this is all very interesting stuff, and I definitely want to believe in that. But yeah, let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed my commentary and the music, and I will see you in the next video.